Hi Roel, thank you for coming to the frame to have a little chat. We are here with Laciko and we are just one day before the SUI base camp. We can talk about that. What are your expectations about the base camp and why is it important? But first and foremost, what about Kumo?
So what about Kumo? So to give a bit of a background, so I've been building with Lucky Cat, one of the gaming ecosystems on SUI for almost 3 years, up until recently. So I'm the one that launched Kumo, right, which was one of the core pillars of that ecosystem, I would say. And what Kumo is, it actually grew very organically from more of a, let's say, growth strategy and NFT collection very quickly to actually a major pillar in the overall SUI ecosystem and an IP that is very scalable with a lot of opportunities, right? So I would say Kumo is a cute, clumsy cat, right? A cute character that is very recognizable, especially, like I said, in the SUI community, but we already expanded much beyond that in the Web3 ecosystem, and we're already making steps in Web2, right? So what we did with Kumo is launch an NFT collection first. It was a free mint, and then the last phase of it was 100 SUI, and it was sold out in 30 minutes. It created a lot of mindshare also outside of the SUI community. That was back then one of the goals. And things just grew rapidly from there. And the power of Kumo, what you have seen with a few other IPs as well in Web3 in general, but not that too many, right? So Pudgy Penguins is of course the best example, is that with those IPs you have the ability to reach a broader, especially retail or consumer audience, right? So that is what Kumo has done with the plushies as a first step. All right, so it's partnered with J Corp, which is one of the biggest manufacturers in North America, and with those plushies, of course, right, a lot of NFT holders and crypto holders bought those plushies, but also a part of that is to get it to new audiences, right? So, for example, a lot of NFT holders bought it for their kids. They actually like it, right? They don't know anything about crypto, but they like the character, they like the toys, right? And it creates more attention on the timeline as well. And that's ripple effect that has been set in effect, and you see it growing quite rapidly. And as a first step in retail, now Kumo has the potential to expand to actual stores, right? So it's a gateway into places such as Walmart, Target, right? Like those bigger retail chains, of course, right? It needs a few steps to get there. But that is basically what the intention of Kumo was. And I think that you can have a lot of potential because, you see what Pudgy Penguins, for example, has done, right? Like you try to burst out of your crypto bubble. And the whole point, especially of an NFT collection, is also to create revenue streams that are not coming only from your NFT holders, right? Because I would say with NFT projects, you launch a project once and you build a community that is very, let's say, powerful, right? You have a fan base that you can activate in multiple directions. But on the flip side, you can also sometimes see it as a liability, right? Because, of course, a project needs to have income, it needs to make revenue, and you can do that with an NFT minute once, but then after that, you have also a community that you have to live up to a certain expectation, right? And you have to keep them happy because they're your early investors, right? So there are two sides of that, and I think that projects like Kumo or another ecosystem, like I mentioned, Pudgy Penguins, Cleonosaurus is another good one. If you go that broader direction and you focus on a broader audience, right, retail consumers, that is very necessary to actually make this whole model sustainable.
You mentioned the Pudgy Penguin IP and the Cleonosaurus. It's not strange for us because we knew that Varus made a partnership with Kleinosaurus and also Pudgy Penguin as well. So what do you think about these partnerships, and what do you think about the Varus, the future of Varus and all of the other infra projects in the SUI ecosystem? I mean, ICA, Varus, or maybe DeepBook as well.
Yeah, definitely. So good question. So yesterday, the Pudgy Penguins Walrus partnership was announced. And yeah, it means for now that Pudgy Penguins, so for one, right, they had an event together. So the two mascots, right, like in real life came together. They were racing, they were battling against each other. There was a race, yeah. So that definitely captures people's attention, which is good, right? And it's again, it's expands, especially in our crypto bubble. We can get more attention of what is Walrus actually from people outside of the ecosystem, right? That is important, and I think Pudgy Penguins helped a lot with that. But now Pudgy Penguins is going to use their assets, their creatives, right? They're going to store this on Walrus, right? So that's a very good first step. Maybe more things are coming, right? Let's see. I think it's a very good first opening, like again, like what we said, like as a gateway to that. And we've also seen it with Kleinosaurus, right? That is now also using Walrus as their main storage solution. So those are very important crypto native projects, and it gives proof of concept and validation for maybe even bigger studios, IPs, right? That are again very consumer focused to perhaps use Walrus as their main storage solution as well, right? So Walrus has launched like what it was a month ago, something like this, right? And to already be partnered with Kleinosaurus, to already be partnered with Pudgy, right? You see the acceleration. So I think more and more big similar projects like this, both right enterprises or more consumer focused projects like this will follow. And yeah, so I think it's a very crucial partnership to accelerate that adoption and just to get more storage on Walrus. And then also to a second point to that, why I think the Pudgy partnership is significant. Walrus is also used to make it more digestible for more of a broader consumer audience, right? And not just very technical people. It's not necessarily only, let's say, a B2B focus, right? I know that Walrus is also focusing on retail, on consumers as well. And that is, I think, why they have chosen to market themselves as a character, right? And maybe perhaps expand that to an IP as well. So yeah, we have seen that now as a first step, right? You can have this asset that is way more marketable. Like for example, SUI, right? I think SUI is doing great on marketing, on partnerships, especially, right? But it's still a very clean brand. Yeah, it has a corporate look indeed, right? And I think that is good for what SUI is. But you see that with Walrus, they went in a completely different directions. And now they can play both sides, right? So I think in terms of a strategic step, it's genius. It's very good branding, it's very good marketing. And you see the already very early success of that with the collaboration of with Pudgy Penguins and how they've also executed that now.
You already mentioned Walrus and SUI, of course. What do you think? What is your opinion? What are the most important projects that are already established with mainnet and with its own tokens and stuff like that? And also the future of SUI. What are the most important projects for you?
Yeah, so I think especially already from the early stages in SUI, DeFi is the one that has really been shown to be most efficient and also safe and most user-friendly on SUI, right? So projects like SUI Land have done really well. Bluefin that also launched relatively recently, right? Cetus, right? Already like one of the first DEXs. It's very user-friendly. It's very safe to use. It's the TVL has been growing a lot. So I think the DeFi sector in general in SUI has made the first steps, right, to really grow very fast for still a relatively young chain. I still think in terms of the gaming side, we need to see much more development. The SUI Play is what I'm most excited about. I think it's a very good way to bring in more Web2 games and basically blend or merge them in one console with Web3 games, right? Which is also a good way of user acquisition for those Web3 games where it's still hard to get, to scale, right? That's been proven, right? We still haven't much very successful games that have scaled beyond their, again, Web3 bubble, right? So I think the SUI Play is really going to help with that, right? And on top of that, they don't have to deal, especially if you're talking about mobile games, which are more scalable more quickly. But with mobile games, you have the problem that you have to deal with their crypto policies, right? Which are sometimes difficult to go around, especially if you launch a token. So the SUI Play will help that. And that means basically that you have crypto games on the SUI Play next to already very big established Web2 games from an original Web2 gaming studio. So I'm very excited how that plays out and whether we then finally see a bit of a gaming bull run, let's say, on SUI, right, and accelerate that vertical. And then I would say in terms of the project I'm most excited about in general would be ICA. It's of course a very complex and technical product, so I don't want to get into that because I'm definitely the last one that you want to explain it. But I mean, we know that ICA is basically solving the solution of bridging to other chains and wrapping it in other tokens, and right, so it is a much better solution for a multi-chain world, but it's all built on SUI, right? So, right, they always say, right, you can send and receive every asset, but you're using SUI, right? So every chain is a SUI chain. That's what ICA says. And with with their D-Wallet technology, I think it's a revolutionary step. On top of that, the marketing is also amazing. So their TGE is quite soon, I believe. So I'm very excited how that launch goes, and then also how they will actually be able to, let's say, quote unquote, bridge between those other chains. But it's not really bridge. It's just, right, how we will use other assets of other chains, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, on SUI, leveraging this ICA infrastructure. So that is what I'm really excited about, and especially to see that utility life in action.
What do you expect from the Basecamp? I mean, we had a lot of rumors about a potential partnership between SUI and Pokemons. You know what I mean? And what is your take about the Basecamp? What do you expect?
So I'm very excited for Basecamp. This is the second Basecamp. I don't know if you guys were in the last Basecamp. No, so this is your first Basecamp. Yeah. I think it's going to be very very exciting. So yeah, in the first Basecamp last year, I think it was very well done. It was a packed house. Even for then a relatively small community, it was very impressive. Then we had a few big announcements, including the SUI Play was announced then. I remember I was sitting in the audience and it was announced in a very impressive way, and everyone was really amazed. And I think that we will have a few announcements like this again during Basecamp. Honestly, I have no idea which ones will be announced or like which direction. There are so many rumors. Yeah. We'll have to see which ones are true and which ones are maybe announced later on and which ones are just rumors. Yeah. So I'm very excited about that part, and also just in general, for since last year, the ecosystem has really matured a lot, right? Last year in Basecamp, it was right. We really had to crawl our way back up from quite some from a crypto winter, right? SUI was at 50 or 60 cents, maybe I believe it even went lower, and. So the community was still very young. We were still learning a very new tech on a new language. And I would say that the difference between last year and now in terms of users, right? In terms of the products that have been built, right? In terms of news, announcements, partnerships both on right the developers level and SUI as well. We have Walrus launch now. We have SUI Play on the horizon. I bet we will have SUI plays there to test them out. I think I saw some pictures, so that's going to be very exciting. So I'm very impressed with how SUI has grown within a year. So yeah, I think I'm most excited to just meet the builders in real life and meet them again for the second or third time, or meet new ones, right, that I haven't met in real life before, like you guys, first time we meet in real life. So yeah, I think it's going to be very good, and yeah, like I said, very excited to meet everyone in person.
Last question from me.
Yeah.
For an absolute beginner, if somebody just want to dig deep into SUI because he or she likes the whole vibe, the thing, but knows nothing about it, what do you suggest? Where should he start?
Yeah, so especially if you are maybe not that deep into crypto in general, right? Because I do think that SUI is a very consumer-friendly chain, right? That is what they're focused on. They have the tech for that, right? For example, with Ziki login, with Stashed, with the toolkit they have to build user-friendly products. I still would like to see a little bit more of that actually happen on chain, right? But it's getting there. So yeah, keeping that in mind, I think that you just have to go to the App Store, download Slush, right, the new SUI wallet. You can make a wallet with your email or with your Twitch or Facebook account, right? Very user friendly, very quick. So that's a good start. Start exploring within the app different applications, right? So first step is of course to buy some SUI. You can do it on a DEX, right? On 7K aggregator is what I use a lot. Check out SUI Land, check out Bluefin. Make some APR on SUI Land, right? If you want to do that. So yeah, just explore different niches. And if you're more into gaming, right, I would recommend Lucky Cat. Go to Cosmocadia, go to Panzerdogs, check out Society, right? I'm very excited to see more about Society. I've also heard they have an exciting announcement at Basecamp, so let's see how that goes. And yeah, so I think that's a good start in terms of if you're again very new to crypto in general. Go to Twitter, follow some SUI faces, right? Especially ambassadors that have educational content. I think that's good. If you go for DeFi, I think, for example, Mr. Brad Smith is a good one that in the SUI community a lot of people know. If you go for more general digestible content, maybe Matteo is a good one, right? He's talking about news, about announcements. Angelo is also a good ambassador, right? So try to check out those threads. And also you guys, right? Of course, you are focused much more on the Hungarian community, but I think now you're also doing more in English, right? So go to your TikTok, YouTube channels. I think that's a good start. And then I would also say interact a lot with the community, right? Be active in group chats, on Twitter, reach out to people, because I think compared to other ecosystems, SUI, at least until now, is a very open and let's say flat ecosystem, right? So it's very easy to get in contact with even people from the foundation, from Mr. Labs if you're a builder, right? Or from people that are already very experienced within the ecosystem. So yeah, just reach out, get connected, and yeah, I would say if I would have to use one word, like network, right? Network as much as possible, and then you will find yourself in the right place, whether you're an investor, community member, or a builder. And yeah, so that would be my advice.
Just in short, really the last question. What are you working on right now?
Of course, right, I'm not part of the Lucky Cat team anymore. I'm still very involved in the Kumu community, right? It's still my baby. I still love the Kumu IP. I think it's gonna, there's a potential to do very well. In general, right now, in the last few months, I have just been exploring. I've been having a lot of conversations. I can't say that I'm starting my own company now. I can't say too much about that yet, but what I can say is that what I also mentioned before, I think that the SUI blockchain is developing very well. It's growing fast, especially the products that are being built, right? With Ika, SUI Land, Bluefin, you name them, with the SUI Play coming up. But I still would like to see more products that are actually leveraging this technology so that we can really bring in consumers, right? So what I've tried to do in the first stages with Kumu as well, I want to continue doing, right? I want to create a very seamless barrier to let people that have never used crypto interact with blockchain technology. Not necessarily, I don't want to send them to DEXs, let them use DeFi and trade meme coins. That's not what I mean. I just want actually to use the technology in a way that benefits user experiences and applications that they build where it makes sense, right? So especially thinking in the NFT sector, right? We of course have seen NFTs as PFPs, as communities that are being built. Now, of course, also, right, it's being used in more use cases in DeFi as well, because it's possible in SUI, specifically with the object model. So that's exciting to see. But I also want to really go broader with NFT use cases, which I think we will see in the next 5 to 10 years. We will see NFT technology embedded in much more everyday applications, much more. So I'm exploring that. I do have some ideas of what I want to do with that. And yeah, so perhaps we can talk again in 6 months or so and see how many consumers, retail users I've been able to onboard and let them use SUI technology without necessarily knowing them. I can say maybe it's the last bit of alpha here. What I'm looking at specifically is the RWA sector, right? Also with Kumu, of course, right? With tokenized plushies. I think that's a very interesting sector. I think the RWA is going to be used way more. I do think it's one of the use cases of crypto that is still quite young, but we will see more and more once the tech is there, right? And I think with SUI it's there. So yeah, that's the area I'm now exploring, and perhaps in 6 months we can talk more about that. And yeah, follow me on X, 0x ROEL, that's ROEL, drop it down. So follow me for updates there on what I'm building, and always feel free to reach out to me for any questions on SUI. If you need introductions to maybe people in the SUI ecosystem, I'm very happy to help anywhere there. And yeah, thank you for the conversation.
Thank you for taking the time and for getting up so high.
Yes, of course.
And let's go to the base camp, because I think we already can pick up the badges.
Yes.
Let's go.
See that. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.